Thank you. I'd like to recognize and thank Dr. Pachauri for that kind introduction. It's not every day that I'm introduced by a Nobel Prize winner, so I will tell my mom when I get home that that's what happened today. But in all seriousness, Dr. Pachauri is a friend and a tremendous leader in climate science. He's the conscious of the world when it comes to understanding what the data actually says, so we can have policy discussions that are informed by reality as opposed to conjecture. And we recognize that his work and the work of TERI has been critical in both creating a global consensus that is nearly complete. As we know, we're in Washington, and this is perhaps one place, the only place where it's not. But everywhere else in the world, there's a clear understanding of what the data says and what the challenges before us are. So thank you, Doctor, for having me here and for your partnership and leadership. I also want to recognize Vice President Gore, who I know spoke to this group yesterday, and I understand shared with you his passion for this issue. I like pointing out, Vice President Gore gave me my first job in American politics. It was not a very high-level one. I won't go into the details. But his passion and advocacy for this issue is really what the kind of leadership we ultimately need. And I enjoyed noting that my 7-year-old son will walk into a room when I'm reading and turn out the lights and explain to me that because my iPad has a backlit screen, I don't need to waste the energy of keeping the lights on. And it just, there's a whole generation of Americans that clearly understand their responsibilities to create the kind of world that can sustain us over time. And a lot of that is Vice President Gore's doing. It is a real pleasure to join you here today. This Energy Partnership Summit is emblematic of a strong and vibrant relationship our two countries have, and of our desire to come together around some of the toughest and most challenging issues in the world, and to bring science and technology and innovation to address them. Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to visit India for the third time as the USAID administrator. I was with our assistant administrator for Asia, Nisha Biswal, who's here. Thank you, Nisha. And during that visit, the two of us had a chance to meet with many of our newer partners in our India program and partnership. We met with leaders of the philanthropic revolution that is taking place in India as new wealth accumulates, especially by those who have developed an expertise and real success in business and entrepreneurship. Today we're working with the Nalkani family to reach 200 million children with textbooks. We're working with the Ambani family to focus on child survival and global health, and with the Hinduja family to address XDR tuberculosis, to make sure that hyper-resistant strains of that disease are addressed effectively in India with both technology and program management. Those kinds of programs and partnerships are showing us new ways of solving traditional problems that we believe can have relevance far beyond the Indian context, and in fact have real relevance around the world and here in the United States. And this is perhaps most important in the context of clean energy and our efforts to usher in a clean energy future. I'm sure you heard from Deputy Secretary Poneman earlier during this conference about our extensive energy partnership between India and the United States. But in particular, I believe that the partnership we have that focuses on off-grid clean energy solutions that are being developed and tested mostly in India will have more relevance to helping 800 or 900 million people who are accessible but live off-grid, who pay for energy through diesel but don't really benefit from it economically or otherwise, helping that community of human beings experience access to consistent, clean, and effective energy and all of the impacts that will have on their lives. Today we're working with entrepreneurs like Mira Gao Power, who are using microgrids to help rural families light their homes and charge their phones in Uttar Pradesh. Today we're working with other partners like Gram Power that are bringing smart grid technology to more than 8,000 villages across rural India, and helping to develop business models for how to deploy household-based solar technology with smart grids and smart meters that can be low cost and affordable, even for the relatively resource-poor families in that context. In both of these cases, our partnerships are really not designed to just reach 10 or 20,000 villages, although that in and itself is a tremendous accomplishment. Both of these partnerships are defined to usher in a new model of development that focuses on refining and improving business models so that we can reach those who are living in the poorest quintiles of a population, but who are often spending the most to access basic services like water, energy, and health. And they're often getting the least quality and consistency in the service they get for their high cost and high payment. These are the types of efforts that have helped us, through our partnership between India and the United States, do things like reduce coal consumption by 78 million tons over 16 years, avoiding 99 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions in India. That's the equivalent of taking 1.25 million American cars off the road. And it gives you a sense of the scale that's possible when we partner in a manner that brings together technology and science with the vast scale of the Indian system. Together, as parts of these efforts, we've worked to build the capacity of the distribution sector, training 37,000 engineers in different types of partnerships that have helped to drive and achieve these types of results. And it's really this new way of engaging, finding scientists, entrepreneurs, and others and bringing them together that we're most excited about. Through some new partnerships, including in this last year when we deployed our Development Credit Authority, we've issued a $4 million portable guarantee with the India-based Orb Energy that is helping the company secure a loan on positive terms and prove the viability of bringing solar energy to rural markets to serve impoverished communities. This is so important because we know that the vast amount of local wealth in India can be effectively deployed to address its energy deficits, even for its most rural and most impoverished participants. We're now in the process of finalizing a $100 million credit guarantee to support an India-based private equity fund called Neeris Capital. And Neeris, whose managing director, Jonathan Weiner, is here today. Jonathan, are you here with us? Good. Hello, Jonathan. Is focused on investing in renewable energy projects. And that's exactly the kind of partnership. Ben Hubbard, who leads our Development Credit Authority, is also here today and will be eager to meet folks afterwards. But those are the kinds of partnerships that really help us deploy a small amount of our capacity and capability, unlock real local resources, and ultimately, through partners like Jonathan, reach dozens of entrepreneurs that can create both employment and outcomes in this sector. Our credit guarantee will help mobilize American institutional capital into the energy sector and generate an additional 500 megawatts on an annual basis. These types of partnerships speak to our vision of scale. We ultimately believe that by deploying science, technology, innovation, and the kinds of financial innovation partnerships we've just highlighted, that we can go from all of these wonderful but relatively small-scale projects and programs to real transformation that reaches hundreds of millions of people in India and ultimately hundreds of millions of people in Africa, Asia, and other parts of the world. And we also know that these are the technologies that will define our future. On our visit to India, we sat down with the Godrej family companies as well as our partners in Graham Power. And what they were focused on was how we could integrate into their smart grid technologies a new battery system that was being developed at MIT here in Boston. And ultimately, it's those technology partnerships that will help us create the new models that can break through and reach hundreds of millions of people with effective, clean energy, meeting the growth needs of India and many other parts of the world without experiencing the threats to our climate and our human capacity to survive on this planet that is so much the inspiration for TERI and for your work through this energy partnership. So we're eager to partner with you in this area. We're eager to take this forward, and we're eager to ensure that more American entrepreneurs can partner with and learn from the tremendous amount of innovation that's taking place in India. And I hope, Dr. Prashari, that that is the frame that defines our partnership as we go forward as a country and as a development agency with a great country and a great group of partners in India. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I'm happy if we have time to take some questions.